Coach, assuming no status, no projection change on Christian for the weekend.
No, sir. No, sir.
Just to kind of follow that up with DJ being activated, having him back, even though limited, he trending for Saturday, or is it?
Yeah, no, he'll play. He looked like he was ready to go today, so he'll play.
Let's go to David Newton, followed by Brett Jensen.
Sorry, couldn't find the unmute button. I got a new computer here. Coach, you decided to practice in the bubble. I'm just curious, you're going to be playing Green Bay where you could be having snow and all kind of elements and cold for sure. What was the decision there?
Green Bay has a bubble too. They practice in. Buffalo has a bubble, and I've said it sincerely. Like I learned long ago. I coached at. I went to Penn State. I coached at Philly. I coached in Buffalo. The most important thing is practice. If I thought it was going to be raining on Saturday, then I would practice in the rain today. The bubbles, we turned the heat off in the bubble, so it was cool. But I'd much prefer like just kind of the practice right now, especially on a short week. So, if tomorrow's not raining, then we'll probably go outside just to get some cold air. We went outside yesterday for our run through yesterday, but I always look at like those teams that play in the cold weather, and I was in the cold weather for a long time, and they all go inside and practice in the bubble, or in their domes or indoor facilities, whatever they have. And it just kind of hit me, makes sense to me. So if it's not raining though, then I will go outside and get at least one day outside.
Matt, I'm sure you're sick and tired of having to answer this, so I apologize in advance. In terms of Christian, with him not expected to play this week with only 2 games left, is there been talks amongst you or Marty or Mr. Tepper about just shutting him down for the rest of the year? No need to risk anything with 2 games left?
No, sir.
Would you consider sitting him down, or would you talk to him about it?
I would not bring it up, no. And I know he wants to play. So, if a player came to me and said, "Hey, coach, I don't know if I want to play right now. I'm kind of a little banged up," I'd understand it. I'd say, "Yeah, no problem." And if he doesn't get healthy, I won't play him. But if he's 100% healthy, then and he wants to play, which I know he does, then we would play him.
I don't see any other hands raised. Let's go to Elena.
Matt, I just wanted to confirm this. If Russell can't go Saturday, would it be Trent Scott starting at left tackle?
Yes.
And I guess just what do these injuries with Russell, are you interested? I know you like how Trent's been playing and all that, but could you all see like mixing guys in throughout the game, or would you see kind of just going with Trent?
I think we would just play Trent and then see how it goes from there.
Let's go to Jonathan Alexander.
Hey, Matt, hope you're doing well. I know you said DJ Moore looked good in practice today. Did it turn out what he did in week 12 was just a sprain? Yeah,
his ankle's fine. I think he's obviously had, I guess it would be 2 weeks now, bordering on, starting 3 weeks now to get himself going healthy. So he's fine.
Let's go to Stacey Dales for the next question.
Hey, Coach, given the vastness of Green Bay's offense, I know you talked yesterday about Rodgers in so many fantastic ways. But how do you wrap your head around, what's most concerning about their offense? And then, as far as your offense goes, keeping the ball away from them at Lambeau.
Just to say, so I'll go all the way back to 2012. I'm assistant O-line coach at the Giants. We get to our bye week. Coach Coughlin had us do this thing called worst to first, where we would study the worst teams, the best teams, things that we were not good at, the best teams. And so I did a sack study, and I did the best teams in terms of giving up sacks and the worst teams. And so I studied Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. I guess that'd be Mike Holmgren at the time. And I studied their offense, and I turned on the film this week to go watch it. Right. And so it's the first time I watched Aaron Rodgers truly and studied him on film. And it's like he hasn't aged. It's like he's still the same guy. I mean, he can extend plays and he can run, but he can avoid the rush and evade the rush and look downfield, and guys can get open, and guys can, double move you, on the scramble. And there may be, no one better ever in terms of extending plays. And I remember making that point to myself a long time ago, and in that sack study, he had some like 1 and 2 yard sacks because he would get out there, instead of running, he'd be waiting for the big play, and he made a ton of big plays, but every once in a while he didn't, and would take a sack, but it'd be like a 1 yard sack, and it didn't matter. So I turned the film on, and I know I don't move nearly as fast as I did in 2012 as a coach, and he's the same guy. He hasn't aged. He's unbelievable. And so I think for me, it's the off schedule ability to extend drives, extend plays, run if he needs to, but make big plays that makes him just fantastic. And so I think that's one of the things that we have to just be relentless in our rush, relentless in our ability to cover down the field. He obviously can throw it on time. They get open. I'm just saying he has the ability to extend plays. And then to your point, I think we have to play well on offense. We have to score touchdowns in the red zone. We have to protect the football. We have to convert third downs and keep drives going. And so, we understand that you play great teams like this, and it has to be a total comprehensive team win. You have to complement each other as a team. And that's what we're trying to make sure that we do this weekend.
Thanks, Coach.
Go to Mike Solarte.
Coach, a couple things. On Monday, you touched on the 2-minute situation against Denver that you kind of broke down again, I'm not trying to take your words out of context here, just kind of relaying what you said, but the chain of command sort of thing about running that third down play, have those things been addressed this week in meetings and that sort of thing? And I know it's not a you did wrong kind of thing, but a kind of reestablishing what you're looking for.
Yeah. And again, I want to move forward. I'm trying not to look back, since it's Wednesday, which is really kind of a Thursday, but I appreciate the question because it's well stated. I mean, I think at the end of the day, and Teddy's, I think Teddy, I think he kind of understood what was said to him by Joe one way. I intended it another. So we just kind of cleaned that up, and we're all growing together. And if the communication's not 100%, then it falls on me as the head coach, because I'm establishing directives. And if I say I want something, I'd like to see it happen. If it didn't happen, I have to be clear. So I'm trying to make sure that I do a better job, make sure it's way clearer. But I walked away from it knowing that there was all good intent by Teddy. It just wasn't clear enough, and that falls on me.
And then you touched on DJ. He's ready to go. Just the added dimension that gives the passing game for you guys after not having him last week, and the things that you've seen from this season and what you can anticipate, no matter the elements, on Saturday night.
Yeah, I forget what he's averaging, like 15 yards a catch or 18 yards a catch or something. Like he was averaging 18 yards a catch. I mean, he brings such a vertical element to the game for us, a run after the catch element to the game for us. So we'll need him, and we enjoy having him, obviously. So to have Robbie, DJ, and Curtis all out there is a big thing for us. And thankfully, for number one, thankfully he's healthy, and number two, thankfully he's back and playing with us.
Let's go to Deshaun Brown, followed by Will Kunkel.
Hi, Coach. I wanted to follow up on your study when you talked about worst to first. I'm curious if that's something that you still implement or encourage your coordinators to do, and possibly where else you might have seen the benefit from studying film that way.
That's kind of a bye week thing. It's something I did at Temple and Baylor, and we did this year. It's in the NFL, it's obviously easy because there's 32 teams, and they're all in this. In college it's a little different because you're different divisions and all that. But in the bye week, and then certainly in the off season, I think you go out and you look at emerging trends. You look at what people are doing. Weekly. I know Joe looks at every red zone touchdown. I mean, we try to really grind at it and look at what people are doing, and as it relates to us, the things that we're not doing well, and look at the teams who are doing it well, and then at the same time make sure that there's things that we're doing well that we just continue to build on.
Hey, Matt, Will with Fox 46 here. early in the season, it seemed like when you guys were losing, everybody was kind of on the same page and playing together and had that. It seemed like in the Denver game with what Teddy did, I don't know if it's fair to say you guys were on the same page, or whatever. But how important is it to just kind of keep building that culture and that process going forward and remaining on the same page, win or lose, regardless of the final game?
Yeah, and I hope you understand the way I say this because I mean it with the greatest of respect. I think for our team, I think we are more together now than we ever were. I think that we're in these like tight, you know, really hard ball games, and we haven't quite won. You know, so if we go down and we kick the field goal at Minnesota, or we catch a pass last week, it's, you know, everyone feels way, you know, kind of way differently. But I would very simply take the play last week, and, you know, a quarterback, you know, felt he had the latitude to make that play. We've given him the latitude to make plays in the 2 minute, which a lot of teams in the NFL do. And, you know, I tried to stop it and say, hey, let it go to the 2 minute, and just didn't get done. I'd put that on me. I wouldn't put that on the players. You know, to go through the year that we're going through, to be, you know, to go into the last game and come off that Vikings lot. I mean, we played hard. I mean, they go out every week. They play hard. They, you know, they celebrate with each other. They come out to practice. We haven't, you know, we don't get blown out. We haven't mailed one in. We haven't had a game where they didn't play. So it's not good enough. You know, I mean, we're not playing well enough. We're not playing well enough to win. And that's the ultimate standard. But I would say that they've hung together and they've played together. I do think, you know, when you get into tight ball games, they expose your issues and they expose your lack of execution. And you know, a lot of coaches will make a lot of excuses. I won't make any excuses for our lack of execution. We have to execute better, and that's what it would take to win. But for them to come out week after week after week, I just want to make sure I say this, you know, for the guys, like, I think they've hung together. And, you know, here we are, you know, with not a great record, not the record that we wanted. And we're going to go up and play, you know, probably the best team, or one of the best two teams in the NFC. You think about the last 3 games of the year, we're facing the NFC North leader right now. We're going to face the NFC East leader the next game, and we're going to face the NFC South leader. So we're facing 3 of the best teams in the NFC. You know, this team could mail it in. They could quit. Guys could start coming down with injuries and not playing and getting ready for the offseason, but they haven't done that. So I think that it's not winning. It's not what we want, but it's important that I recognize for the guys how they've continued to compete and fight and scratch each and every week. I have to do a better job of making sure that our process and our execution, and sometimes things that you would never, you know, think about, you know, until you get into a game, things come up and we just don't quite get over the hump on these games. So all these little things show up. And so we have to get better. We have to play better. And this will be an unbelievable challenge this week. And as I said at the very beginning of the year, our guys, you know, we have to focus on us. We're facing this great team, you know, in the elements at night on national TV, all these things that, you know, make this a really, really a great challenge. But if we just focus on ourselves and try to go play well and play the best that we can play, maybe we'll have a chance. So I like our team. I like their resiliency and resolve. We just have to play a little bit better. And that's my job. And I'm going to keep, you know, trying to do my job better and better and better each and every day.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt.
Yes, sir.
Let's go to Joe Person and then back to Brett Jensen.
Hey, Matt, is Christian progressing with that quad? And I know you hope to get him back, but do you realistically think that that's an option even for next week?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it if I didn't mean it. That's one thing I hope, you know, you guys know. I mean, I think, you know, I haven't said he's out. I'm not expecting him to play, you know, this week, but he's not out. I think he's getting better. I think next week is certainly realistic, but I could get to next week and say the same thing to you. You know, I mean, I've tried to be really honest with you guys. You know, it's not my quad, so it's hard for me. I mean, I see him working. I see him getting healthy. I see him getting better. But as you know, Joe, you can do all that and then go out and run the first play and feel it tug and say, hey, you know what, I'm shut down again. So he's making a great effort to come back and play. I think he really wants to play. But you know, it's kind of a day by day thing. So I do think he's getting better. I think he has a chance for next week. I haven't ruled him out for this week, but I highly doubt it. And I'll just kind of take it day by day and just, you know, keep updating you guys as I know more.
Matt, you have one of the unique experiences of having coached for several years in a very cold weather place and then also in a very hot weather place in Baylor. I've been to Waco in the middle of June. I know what that's like. I'm curious, what are some of the biggest disadvantages or problems that teams have when they're playing in the cold that maybe they're not used to? Because you would see other teams come to Philadelphia or whatnot. What are some of the biggest or some of the hardest things that teams have to overcome when playing in the cold?
Well, and we have Jason Simmons here, who's defensive back coach for a long time in Green Bay. Brian Angelico is the tight end coach in Green Bay. We have Kent Johnson, who's our director of player wellness, who was the strength coach there, with under Favre and those guys. So a bunch of guys who've been in Green Bay, and I think the thing is that obviously, I mean, playing in the cold, you're cold, but the thing I've always tried to explain to our guys over the years, when I was at Baylor, we went and played Iowa State, and one of the coldest games I've ever been in, I'm like, everybody's cold. Both sides are cold. It's about who's mentally tough enough that when they step in between the white lines and they go to play, they play their tail off. They play as best as they can possibly play and block it out. But it's not about proving how tough you are, right? Like, when I've been in cold weather environments, you see the other team come out, they got their shirts off, they're trying to prove it's not cold. Man, it's cold. So it's not about being physically tough and saying, hey, I don't feel this. It's about being mentally tough. And I think as you go back and look at the 2019 Carolina Panthers, went out there, game 10, played in the snowstorm, played really well. The defense played hard, a great goal line stand right before the half. So you saw this team, a lot of guys on this team went up last year and played in Green Bay and played at Lambeau. So we're going to get there. It's going to be cold. How cold it is, I'm not exactly sure, but it'll be cold for everybody. It comes down to, and again, it's why I always talk about process. I always talk about us. If we make it about us, then we always have a chance. If we make it about the weather, then we have no chance. If we make it about us, then we have a chance. If we make it about the other team, then we have no chance. So I've tried to encourage our guys, don't worry about the officials. Don't worry about celebrating. Don't worry about the other team. Don't worry about the crowd. And certainly don't worry about the weather. If we just focus on our details in playing well, then we'll have a chance. And I think that's what happens to a lot of teams, whether they go to Waco and they play. And, there was games in Waco where the cheerleaders had to leave the field because their shoes were melting on the turf. And so if you start thinking about the heat, you're not thinking about football. If you start thinking about the cold, you're not thinking about football. And this is very simply a football game. Whoever blocks, tackles, covers, throws and catches better wins. And so that's my statement to our guys. Going all the way back to the very beginning. I think David asked me a good question. Why didn't we go outside? Like, I want us to focus on blocking, tackling, all those things. And if the weather prevents you from playing at the level that you're expected and you expect from yourself to play at, then you're not really the player that you say you are. And I'm not really the coach that I say I am. So I'm going to put a jacket on. When I was younger, I used to wear like a t-shirt. I'm going to put a jacket on and go out and coach. And our players, if they have sleeves, no sleeves, it doesn't really matter to me. They go out in between the white lines, do your job, play really hard, block, tackle, do those things. And that's a lesson I've learned. It took me a while to learn that, but I've learned it. And I hope we focus on ourselves and play really well on Saturday night.
That's great. Thanks.